Sabotage and discovery. The stars stretched into brilliant streaks across the viewport as the UES horizon cut through the void of deep space. Captain Alina Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her posture military precise despite 72 hours of minimal sleep. This mission represented humanity's boldest step yet into the galactic community, their first official diplomatic engagement with the Vexari Conclave, a coalition of 7 advanced species who had been observing Earth's development from afar. Status report, Alina commanded, her voice steady but firm. Commander Rajpatal looked up from his console. All systems optimal, Captain. We'll reach the rendezvous coordinates in approximately 48 hours. Alina nodded, satisfaction visible in her dark eyes. 15 years of interstellar exploration had culminated in this mission. Humanity had progressed from tentative solar system exploration to establishing colonies on Mars and Europa, and finally to developing their first true faster-than-light vessel. The horizon represented the pinnacle of human engineering, a fusion-powered deep space vessel equipped with the revolutionary Shaw Fujikawa FTL drive. The Vexari ambassador's last communication indicated they're eager to establish trade relations, said Dr. Amara Wilson, the ship's chief xenobiologist and diplomatic advisor, particularly regarding our advancements in adaptive medical nanotechnology. They'd been quite insistent about examining our medical tech, Alina noted. Something about the Vexari's interest had always struck her as peculiar, but first contact protocols demanded good faith. Let's hope this goes smoothly. Little did she know that hope was about to be systematically dismantled. The first anomaly appeared at 2:17 ship time. Alina was jolted from sleep by the sharp wail of an alarm she hadn't heard outside of drills. Captain to the bridge. Emergency protocols engaged, the ship's AI announced, its usually calm voice carrying an urgency programmed for only the most critical situations. By the time Alina reached the bridge, chaos had erupted. Warning indicators flashed across every console, bathing the command center in pulsing red light. Report, she demanded, taking her seat. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grim. Captain, we're experiencing cascading system failures across all major subsystems. Life support is fluctuating, propulsion efficiency dropping, and a burst of static interrupted her. Navigation is compromised. Cause unknown. There's no evidence of external damage or radiation. It's as if the ship is degrading from the inside out. Over the next 6 hours, conditions deteriorated rapidly. Oxygen levels dropped to 78% of optimal. The Shaw Fujikawa drive began to stutter, causing nauseating shifts in the ship's momentum. Communications sputtered and failed completely. In engineering, Maya had assembled a crisis team that worked frantically to isolate the cause. Lieutenant Zach Kiloa, the ship's security chief, coordinated with them, suspecting sabotage rather than mechanical failure. Captain, you need to see this. Maya's voice crackled through Alina's personal communicator 12 hours into the crisis. Deck C, Section 7. When Alina arrived, Maya stood before a diagnostic terminal, her face illuminated by its blue glow. Look, she said, pointing to microscopic imagery on the screen. Alina leaned closer. What am I looking at? Nanobots, thousands of them. But they're not ours. Maya magnified the image. These are systematically attacking our systems at the molecular level, breaking down circuitry, corrupting digital pathways, even degrading our hull integrity from the inside. Sabotage, Alina stated flatly. It wasn't a question. Undoubtedly, confirmed Zach, who had joined them. And I found how they were introduced. He pulled up security footage showing a maintenance worker accessing an auxiliary panel during their last stop at Outpost Sigma 9. This individual doesn't exist in our crew manifest or station records. They're using technology that's at least a century beyond our current capabilities. Alina's mind raced. The diplomatic mission was almost certainly a trap, Zach finished. Get us talking about peace while they make sure we never make it back to Earth. As if to confirm their suspicions, Communications Officer Lai Wei appeared at the doorway, his expression grave. Captain, before our long-range comms completely failed, we intercepted a partial transmission. It was heavily encrypted, but I managed to extract this. He played the audio. A distinctly non-human voice spoke through layers of translation software. Human vessel neutralized as planned. Their elimination will serve as warning to Earth. Naive species advancing too quickly. Another century of isolation should be sufficient. Silence fell over the group as the recording ended. Elena felt cold fury building within her. 142 lives were under her command, and some unknown alien faction had just sentenced them to death by slow system failure in the emptiness of deep space. Options, she asked, her voice deadly calm. Maya shook her head. We can't neutralize these nanobots with our current technology. By the time we figure out how to counter them, critical systems will have failed completely. At current degradation rates, life support will be non-functional within 72 hours. And rescue? We're nowhere near any established routes, Zach replied. Even if Earth sent ships, they wouldn't know where to look. Plus, our emergency beacon is compromised. Elena straightened her shoulders, a decision crystallizing in her mind. Then we adapt. We survive. And we make whoever did this regret their miscalculation. Miscalculation? Dr. Wilson asked. They didn't just try to kill us, Elena said, a dangerous gleam in her eye. They handed us their technology in the process. Get me every scientist and engineer on this ship. We're going to capture these nanobots, analyze them, and learn how they work. Captain, Zach protested, with all due respect, we don't have time for a research project. We need emergency repairs. We'll do both, Lieutenant. Elena cut him off. Maya, focus your primary team on keeping life support and essential systems functioning. Dr. Wilson, I want you working with our science division to study these nanobots. If they can break our systems, we can learn how they operate. She strode toward the nearest intercom and activated the shipwide channel. Attention all crew of the UES Horizon. By now you know we've been attacked, sabotaged by those who invited us here under false pretenses. They intended to strand us here to die, to send a message that humans don't belong among the stars. Elena paused, letting her words sink in throughout the ship. But they made one critical error. They assumed we would simply accept our fate. They underestimated human ingenuity and determination. From this moment, we are not just fighting for survival. We are going to take their weapon and transform it into our salvation. As she spoke, Dr. Wilson noticed something strange through a nearby viewport. Unusual patterns of energy rippling through the space surrounding their disabled vessel. And when we're done, Elena continued, her voice resonating through every corridor of the dying ship, we're going to show them exactly what humans do when backed into a corner. 48 hours later, the situation aboard the Horizon had evolved from desperate to determined. The crew had divided into specialized teams. Emergency maintenance crews working to keep critical systems operational, research teams analyzing the alien nanobots, and engineering teams attempting to adapt what they learned into practical solutions. In the converted lab that had once been the ship's hydroponics bay, Dr. Wilson huddled with Maya and science officer Dr. Nathan Okafor around a containment field holding captured nanobots. These aren't just weapons, Nathan said, wonder creeping into his voice despite their dire situation. They're marvels of engineering. Look at how they communicate, some form of quantum entanglement we've only theorized about. Maya studied the holographic models generated by their analysis. They're not just destroying our systems randomly either. They're scanning them first, collecting data, then breaking them down systematically. They're studying us while they kill us, Dr. Wilson realized. Which means they're broadcasting somewhere, Elena finished, entering the lab. Can we track the signal? Nathan shook his head. Not in the conventional sense. There are no detectable electromagnetic transmissions. If they're using quantum entanglement, The information transfer would be instantaneous, regardless of distance. But there's more, Maya added, excitement breaking through her exhaustion. The way these machines manipulate matter at the molecular level, it's revolutionary. If we could replicate even a fraction of this technology. Elena leaned forward. Could we create our own versions? Nanobots that repair instead of destroy? Theoretically, Maya replied, already running calculations. But we'd need computational power beyond what our systems can provide, especially with all the damage. What about the quantum computer in the research module? Elena suggested. It's shielded against radiation and most external influences. It might have survived the attack. Nathan's eyes widened. If it's operational, we could use it to model our own nanobot designs. Meanwhile, across the ship, Lieutenant Commander Sofia Martinez had been investigating the strange energy patterns Dr. Wilson had noticed. In the observatory, she calibrated sensors to analyze the phenomenon. "Captain, you need to see this," she called over the comm. When Elena arrived, Sophia pointed to her readings. "We're drifting through some kind of quantum field. It's unlike anything in our databases. Space itself seems malleable here, reacting to our presence." Elena studied the readings. "Can we use it somehow?" "I don't know," Sophia admitted. "But there's something else." She highlighted a section of data. The alien nanobots become more active when exposed to this field. It's like they're drawing energy from it. A plan began forming in Elena's mind. If their technology can harness this energy, then maybe we can too, Sophia finished, catching on to the captain's thinking. Elena tapped her communicator. All senior officers to the briefing room immediately. In the cramped space of the briefing room, Elena outlined what they had discovered and what she proposed. "I'm not talking about just repairing our ship anymore," she declared to her assembled officers. "We're going to rebuild it, enhance it using what we've learned from our attackers and this quantum field we've discovered." "Captain," objected Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kazuo Tanaka, "the crew is already exhausted from oxygen deprivation and stress. Pushing them harder could be dangerous." "Being dead is more dangerous," Elena countered, but softened her tone. "You're right, though. Set up a rotation. 4 hours on, 4 hours rest. Prioritize oxygen to work areas." Even with these precautions, Maya interjected, "What you're suggesting would normally take years. We don't have years. We have 48 hours before life support fails completely." Elena stood, placing both hands on the table. "We're going to achieve in 2 days what would normally take a decade of research and development. Not because it's easy, but because it's our only option." She looked around at her senior officers, seeing determination replace resignation in their eyes. "They tried to write our epitaph. Instead, they're going to witness our evolution." As the meeting dispersed, the UES Horizon, humanity's dying flagship, began its transformation from victim to something its attackers could never have anticipated. Transformation and triumph. The corridors of the UES Horizon had transformed into a hive of frenetic activity. Panels hung open with exposed circuitry, crew members passed tools back and forth, and the air buzzed with technical discussions that blended desperation with innovation. Despite oxygen levels hovering at 60% of normal, the crew moved with purpose, their minds sharpened by necessity. In what had once been the ship's mess hall, Maya Rodriguez had established what she called the Forge, a makeshift laboratory where the ship's 3D fabrication systems had been modified with components from medical synthesizers. At its center stood the quantum computer, rescued from the research module, and now running continuous simulations of nanobot designs. "It's working," Maya announced, her voice hoarse from exhaustion, but tinged with excitement. She gestured to a microscopic display where their first-generation human-made nanomachines moved with purpose across a damaged circuit board. Captain Elena Chen leaned closer, watching as the tiny machines surrounded damaged areas. Metal flowed like liquid, components realigned, and pathways reconnected. Slowly, methodically, the dead circuit returned to life. "How many can we produce?" Elena asked. With the fabricators running at maximum capacity, about 10,000 per hour, Maya replied. Not enough to counter all the alien nanobots, but enough to begin critical repairs and protect essential systems. Focus on life support first, then propulsion, Elena ordered. And Maya, excellent work. Across the ship in the observatory, Lieutenant Commander Sofia Martinez and Dr. Nathan Okafor had made their own breakthrough. They had constructed a makeshift sensor array extending outside the hull, directly interfacing with the quantum field surrounding them. It's responding to our presence, Sofia explained, pointing to fluctuations in the energy readings. When we send an electrical charge through the array, the field amplifies it exponentially, almost like it's alive. Nathan added, not sentient, but reactive, as if space itself is engaging with us. Elena studied the readings. Can we harness this reaction? Use it as a power source? That's what we've been working on, Sofia confirmed, bringing up a schematic. We've designed a quantum energy collector that could theoretically convert this field's reactions into usable power. If it works, we could generate 10 times the energy our fusion reactors produce at peak efficiency. Get it built, Elena commanded. Divert whatever resources you need. Meanwhile, in the ship's armory, Lieutenant Zach Kiloa had assembled a different kind of team. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were preparing for a potential confrontation. The alien nanobots are transmitting data somewhere, Zach explained to Elena when she visited their progress. We've been analyzing their transmission patterns using what Dr. Wilson discovered about their quantum entanglement properties. He brought up a three-dimensional star chart. We believe they're sending data to a location approximately 3 light-years from our position. Based on the volume and frequency of transmissions, we expect they'll investigate when their nanobots stop reporting. So they'll come to confirm our destruction, Elena concluded. How long? At conventional FTL speeds for advanced civilizations, 4 to 6 days, Zach estimated, which means we need to be ready. Elena nodded grimly. We will be. By the 5th day after the sabotage, the immediate danger of suffocation had passed. The human-created nanobots had restored life support to full capacity and stabilized most critical systems. But Captain Chen had ordered something far more ambitious than mere survival. In the main cargo bay, now converted into their central workshop, a holographic model of the horizon floated in the air. Different sections glowed with different colors, showing progress on what Elena had come to call the rebirth protocol. We're not just repairing the ship, Maya announced to the assembled senior officers. We're rebuilding it from the inside out, incorporating everything we've learned from the alien technology and the quantum field. The transformation was remarkable. The hull, once degrading under the alien nanobots' assault, now integrated their own version of the technology. Billions of microscopic machines had been reprogrammed to strengthen the ship's structure, making it both lighter and more durable. The propulsion system had been completely redesigned, now drawing power directly from the quantum field through Sofia's energy collectors. The Shaw Fujikoa drive has been enhanced beyond its original specifications, reported engineer Lai Wei. Based on simulations, our FTL capability should increase by a factor of 4. We've also integrated the quantum field sensors throughout the hull, Sofia added. The ship can now detect and respond to spatial anomalies in real time, potentially allowing us to navigate through regions previously considered impassable. Perhaps most remarkably, the ship's computer systems had evolved. By studying how the alien nanobots communicated through quantum entanglement, Nathan and his team had developed a new form of data processing that operated outside conventional electronic pathways. The ship's AI now functions as a truly distributed intelligence, Nathan explained. It's no longer confined to physical circuitry. It exists partially in the quantum state itself, giving it processing capabilities we can barely measure, let alone comprehend. Elena listened to each report with growing satisfaction. What had begun as an act of sabotage had catalyzed an evolutionary leap forward in human technology. The horizon was becoming something no human engineer could have envisioned, something beyond what even their attackers possessed. "What about defensive capabilities?" Elena asked, turning to Zach. The security chief smiled for the first time in days. "That's where things get really interesting, Captain." He brought up schematics of a system they'd developed by reversing the alien nanobot's destructive properties. "We're calling it the Aegis Shield. It creates a field of programmable matter around the ship, essentially a cloud of our nanobots that can reconfigure in microseconds to respond to any threat." "And offensive capabilities?" Elena pressed. "The same technology, inverted," Zach replied. "We can project streams of nanobots that can disassemble technology at the molecular level, but with precision control rather than indiscriminate destruction." Dr. Wilson, who had been quiet throughout the presentations, finally spoke. "We've learned something else from analyzing their transmission patterns. The aliens who attacked us, they're not from the Vexari Conclave. They're a separate faction, one that appears to be intervening to prevent first contact between humanity and other species. Isolationists," Elena mused. "They want to keep humanity contained, which suggests the real Vexari might still be open to alliance," Dr. Wilson concluded. Before anyone could respond, the ship's enhanced sensors triggered an alert. Lieutenant Commander Sophia straightened at her console. "Captain, we're detecting a vessel approaching at high speed. Based on its quantum signature, it matches the transmission patterns from the nanobots." Elena's expression hardened. "They've come to confirm their kill. How long until intercept?" "Approximately 2 hours at their current velocity," Sophia answered. Elena looked around at her crew, exhausted but proud, pushed to their limits and beyond. "Send all personnel to battle stations. It's time to show our attackers exactly what they've accomplished." The alien vessel emerged from FTL with predatory grace, sleek, dark, and bristling with weapons. It dwarfed the horizon, its hull gleaming with an iridescent material that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. "They're scanning us," reported Sophia from her station. "Their sensors seem confused by our modifications." Elena sat calmly in the command chair, watching the massive ship on the view screen. "Open a channel." After a moment of silence, the screen flickered to life. The being that appeared was vaguely humanoid, but with distinctly alien features, skin that shifted colors like liquid metal, multiple sets of eyes arranged vertically, and what appeared to be respiratory filters rather than a conventional mouth. "Impossible," the alien stated, its words translated through their enhanced systems. "Your vessel was neutralized. Our nanite colony confirmed critical system failures. I'm Captain Elena Chen of the United Earth Ship Horizon." Elena replied evenly. "And you are?" The alien's skin rippled with what might have been surprise or anger. "I am Arkshan Vex Mauler of the Preservers. Your species was deemed unready for galactic integration. Your elimination was necessary to maintain cosmic balance." "You tried to murder my crew," Elena stated flatly. 142 lives. You disguised yourselves as peaceful diplomats and then sentenced us to a slow death in the void." "A regrettable necessity," the Archon replied without a hint of remorse. "Your species advances too quickly, adapts too readily. You disrupt established hierarchies, but your survival is merely a temporary anomaly. We have more direct methods at our disposal." As the alien ship accelerated away, returning to FTL, a spontaneous cheer erupted across the horizon's bridge. Elena allowed herself a small smile before addressing her crew. "Plot a course for Earth," she ordered. "But first, send a message to the actual Vexari Conclave. Tell them we'd like to reschedule our diplomatic meeting, and that we have some interesting technology to discuss." Maya approached Elena as the crew carried out their tasks with renewed vigor. "You realize what we've accomplished, don't you? The ship's innovations will advance Earth's technology by centuries. The quantum field integration alone will revolutionize energy production across all human settlements." Elena nodded, looking out at the stars. No longer distant points of light to be admired, but destinations within reach. "They tried to end our journey," she said quietly. Instead, they gave us the stars. As the UES Horizon activated its enhanced drive, the ship seemed to phase partially out of conventional space, leaving a trail of brilliant quantum energy in its wake. It wasn't just returning home. It was bringing the future with it. What had begun as an act of sabotage had become the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. The ship that limped home wasn't the same vessel that had departed Earth with diplomatic hopes. It was something new, a testament to human resilience, adaptability, and the unquenchable desire to overcome any obstacle placed in their path. The stars themselves seemed to burn brighter as the horizon raced toward Earth, carrying with it the message its enemies had inadvertently helped create. Humanity was ready for the galaxy, and the galaxy better be ready for humanity.